Aloha everybody. We're on an adventure at Animal Kingdom and we're taking you guys with us. Come along. The Otter Grotto. Emmy, wetland otter. You excited?
I want the otter.
Really? You want an otter?
Guys, if you have an otter, bring it to me.
Not that big? That's cool. There's 3 right there. They're so stinking cute.
Yeah.
Stop. They're so cute.
Yeah, look at them.
We love.
Do you see their cuddle puddle over here?
We need to put a heart.
Tell them thumbs up.
Thumbs up for
Thumbs up for the otters.
At our veterinary, nutrition, and science centers. Also, be sure to check out the animation experience at Conservation Station, where you can learn to draw your favorite Disney characters inspired by live animals from one of our animators. The tradition of animals and animation reaches all the way back to Walt Disney himself and his long-standing passion for conservation. He believed it was important that we protect our wildlife and preserve our natural world. This sense of motivation shaped his legacy, from animation to conservation, to the very adventures we offer here at Disney's Animal Kingdom each and every day. As we make our way to Rafiki's Planet Watch, keep an eye out for some of the exciting wildlife we might encounter along the way, and the highly trained specialists who care for them. From ostriches and rhinos to the mighty African elephant, the species we care for here at Disney's Animal Kingdom are some of the very same animals that inspired animated classics like The Lion King, The Jungle Book, and more. Did you know Bambi was the first animated feature to bring live animals into the studio? In the 1940s, Walt Disney and his animators modeled characters from the film after the movements and natural behaviors of their real-life counterparts. Even with the latest advances in computer animation, this tradition continues today as animators travel throughout the world to observe animals in their own surroundings. And that includes here at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
We are now approaching Conservation Station at Rafiki's Planet Watch. For your safety and the safety of those around you, please sit all the way back against the bench and avoid leaning out toward the railing. Remain seated until the train comes to a complete stop, and please be sure to watch your children as you exit.
Animal Planet. We're at Rafiki's Planet Watch.
There's behind the scenes of our Ohana Life 7.
There's, what's yours?
Abigail Everyday Life.
There she is.
What do you want to get first? Animal experience? And then
Yeah.
building?
That's fine. And there's M's Memories with the camera person. She happens to be my daughter too. And my daughter. Wow. The fam is going into the eating area. I'm staying with all the stuff, but you can't bring food or drinks. And since we have drinks, I'm staying with them. There's a goat eating hay. Or, no, that's actually a sheep. There's people walking in front of me. Kids learning, which is always good. Emily, did you like the animals? Why'd you come out?
Because I don't like bugs. Bugs are scary.
the bugs got to her. Wait till love bug season comes back. You guys will hear that.
It's gonna be hilarious.
And guys, go there and when you're done, wash your hands.
Yes. Getting ready to go on a safari.
Those are all the animals we're gonna see, right? See the giraffe?
The father bear.
Asante Sano working.
Don't forget me. You're over.
Alrighty guys, here in Harambe, like I say Twin Day, which means let's go. Jumbo everybody, my name is Nick, I'm going to be your safari guide for today's safari to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. While we're on the reserve, I do ask you guys to remain fully seated at all times, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle, and please be sure to watch your kids. If you guys have any personal items with you, please make sure that you're safely stowed away. This will be a log landing train we're going over today. We do not want anybody to fall over in those roads or lose anything. Now, if you're using a camera, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure it stays inside the vehicle at all times, because if anything is dropped into the reserve, we will not be able to stop and retrieve it. And since animals are naturally curious, we most likely will not be getting those items back. But if you do happen to drop something, please let me know, and I'll let our reserve warden know, so there's a small chance we get the item back for you. And go ahead and take a look up above your heads. Notice that handy animal spotting guide that's going to help you identify any of the animals may see out here in the reserve. I'm going to be pointing out everything that I see, you guys, but if I miss something, please feel free to point it out to me. Just not too loudly. We do not want to startle any of the animals out here in the reserve. Now keep in mind that is not a guaranteed list. You are not guaranteed to see every single animal on the animal spotting guide, but we've been having some pretty good spotting so far today. So let's keep our eyes open, our fingers crossed, and see what we can find out here in the reserve. We're now entering the Little Itiri Forest, which is a very densely packed forest full of vegetation and wildlife. A lot of the animals in this forest like use camouflage. Their advantage to try to remain hidden, so keep your eyes out, guys. Might see an animal or two wandering around amongst the trees. Kind of hard to see, but way up in the back on the right-hand side, we're going to see an okapi. It's got very distinctive stripes on its backside. Because of those stripes, many people believe that the okapi is related to the zebra. They're actually more closely related to the giraffe. You can tell this because they have the same shaped skull, the same amount of vertebrae in their neck, as well as the same long prehensile tongues that they use to gather food. Very cool, guys. Here on our left-hand side, lying down, we're actually going to see a black rhino. Now, black rhinos are very large, usually being around 3,500 pounds. They can actually get charging to 35 miles per hour. They are critically endangered due to poaching for their horns that they have on their head. There's only about 5,000 black rhinos left in the world because of that. The poachers believe that those horns have a scientific or medicinal value, which is actually false. They're made out of a material called keratin, which is the same material that our fingernails are made out of. So, unless you're a rhino, you've got no use for a rhino horn. Now, both sides of the vehicle, we're going to see some beautiful rust-colored animals called bongos. And on our right-hand side, we're going to see a lighter brown antelope called a greater kudu. The greater kudu that we see here is female, because there's no horns on top of its head. They're actually one of the taller species of antelope we see on the reserve, being around 55 inches tall at shoulder. They can actually leap about 6 feet into the air from a standstill. But the bongos are commonly called the ghosts of the forest due to their reclusive nature. Both males and females of that species have those horns on their head, with the males being significantly larger, usually around 36 inches long. We're moving out of the forest and into the Safi River now, which is where we tend to see some more wanted wildlife. Now, before I picked you guys up, the warden gave me a tip to look for shadows in the water, indicating there could be something out here, so keep your eyes open, everybody. Never know what you're going to see in these waters. Not really seeing a whole lot here. We're going to go ahead and move across, check the other side of the river. Now on our left-hand side, those gray and white birds you see over there on the island are called pink-backed pelicans. You may be thinking, Nick, you just said they're gray and white, right? They're called pink-backed pelicans. Well, they get that name from a very distinctive pink coloration with their back during mating season. You can think of it almost like they're blushing.
Also the bird?
I think they're hiding.
I'm not really seeing too much else out here. We're gonna check one more spot just around this corner and head out onto the
These are
savannah.
some big buzzards.
I'm still not really seeing anything here, so we're just gonna wait for this truck to finish crossing that bridge. Once there's enough room, we'll go ahead and head across.
Literally, we're this close to that bird. It's a little unnerving.
Oh, very cool, guys. Looks like there's actually some Nile crocodile over on our left-hand side. And Nile crocodile are very large, even around 15 feet long, 500 pounds. They will typically attack anything they come across, including animals much larger than themselves, including wildebeest or even zebras. They use their powerful jaws to grind up every part of their prey, including the bones, eating everything, up to half their body weight. So on that note, we're gonna get out of here. The best way to tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile is by their snout. Alligators have a U-shaped snout, crocodiles have a V-shaped snout. Now, like I said, we're going to go and head out onto the savannah, where during the past few days we've seen some animal migration happening, so with any luck we'll see some animals out wandering out today. Now coming up here on our right-hand side, we're going to see a baobab tree. The baobab trees are commonly called upside-down trees due to the fact that it looks kind of like it's upside down. It is not upside down, however, those are its branches. They typically remain leafless around 9 months out of the year to help them conserve water. Those trees act sort of like giant gourds. They can hold thousands of gallons of water inside of them. But during the warmer times of the year, it's common to see animals walk up those trees and bite at them and try to get water out, giving it the nickname the Tree of Life. Now here on the savannah, it's a very large, successful ecosystem. Because of the successful ecosystem, we tend to see a large variety of wildlife. Since we use the animal spotting gun to our advantage, you can see many different types of animals we can spot today. You're going to notice a lot of the trees out here trimmed almost the exact same length at the bottom side. That's usually a pretty good indicator of how tall the tallest giraffe is. They like to use their great height as well as their long prehensile tongues to gather food from the bottom of the trees. Prehensile means they can actually use their tongues to pick up and gather food.
Look, a human.
Now those tongues are about 18 inches long, which is long enough to wrap around your forearm about 3 times. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm speaking from experience.
Let's see if we see anybody in here.
Anybody over here? Don't see anybody. No, I don't see anything.
I'm not really seeing a whole lot around here. We're going to just keep moving forward now here and see if we can find something else up ahead. It looks like coming up here on our left-hand side, we're actually going to see some beautiful brown creatures called sable antelope. A sable antelope may look kind of familiar, and that's because they're the official mascot of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, showing up on our crest. They're known for the long curved horns on top of their head, which are used for sparring amongst the males, as well as for a deterrent from any predators who may want to leap onto their backs. The large rock-like structures that are around the truck are not actually rocks, they're termite mounds. These termite mounds will be around 15 feet tall and are as hard as concrete. Some of the larger animals on the reserve like to use them as scratching posts, which is why the one on the right-hand side is so worn down. Some of the smaller animals like to use them as lookout posts, climbing up to the top to try to spot any predators may be lurking nearby. It looks like coming up here on our right-hand side, we're actually going to see a whole tower of giraffe. A tower is what we call them as a group, a tower of giraffe. Now, these are Maasai giraffe. Maasai refers to the very irregular jagged patterning that they have on their coats. Similar to human fingerprints, no two coats are the same. They are all completely unique to every animal in the species. Now, adult giraffes are some of the tallest animals on the planet, being around 18 to 20 feet tall. But despite that large size, they're actually capable of sprinting up to 35 miles per hour and comfortably jogging at about 20 miles per hour. Now, there's actually some baby giraffes here as well. Baby giraffes usually born at about 6 feet tall, which is taller than your average human male. Usually weigh about 150 pounds. The female giraffes actually have to give birth standing up, so whenever a baby giraffe is born, they drop 6 feet down onto the ground. And many people believe the giraffes have horns on their head, and those are not actually horns, they are called ossicones. The difference is that horns are not connected to the animal's skull, can actually fall off if they need to. Ossicones are directly connected to the giraffe's skull and are actually covered by a thin layer of skin. Now that being said, the giraffes really have to use those ossicones, and they also have a slightly rounded tip. So, we commonly say they are pointless. Now over on the right-hand side are some small light brown and white creatures called springbok. Springbok get their name for the ability to repeatedly spring up to 6 feet into the air whenever they feel threatened or very excited. That action is called romping. Many types of animals can do that. They're some of the fastest animals on the planet, reaching speeds around 50 to 60 miles per hour and leaping 10 to 16 feet forward in a single bound. They can actually spring 12 feet forward from a standstill. Now, the large bovine creatures you see here on our right-hand side are called Ankole cattle. Commonly called Watusi cattle after the tribe that first domesticated them, the Watusi tribe. These are the only domesticated animals we're going to see on the reserve today. They're known for the very large curved horns on top of their head, which are usually 3 to 5 feet in length, sometimes getting up to 6 feet long. Both males and females of that species have those horns on their head. Those horns are actually not that heavy. They're mostly hollow. They have a honeycomb pattern inside of them, allowing blood to flow freely through their horns, helping keep them cool during the warmer times of the year. Actually like a radiator on a car. Alright, over on our right-hand side, we're going to see a couple more types of animals. The light brown antelope there is called a Patterson's eland. The large herd of gray animals are called white-bearded wildebeest. The Patterson's eland there is a female based on her size and coloration. Males of that species are much darker in color and also much larger. Those adult males will be around 6 feet tall at the shoulder, weighing at around 2,000 pounds. And despite that large size, they're actually capable of leaping up to 8 feet into the air from a standstill. Now, the white-bearded wildebeest are some of the largest groups of migrating animals in the world. Up to 1.5 million of them will migrate between 500 and 1,000 miles across the span every year. And the term wildebeest literally translates to wild beast. We're in a more secluded part of the savannah now. Sometimes more common to see some shy animals or some more solitary creatures. And speaking of solitary, here on our right-hand side is an African elephant. This looks to be a male based on the size of him, the fact that he's by himself. We can tell this is an African elephant because of his ears. They have much larger ears than their Asian elephant cousins. Also, both males and females of this species have tusks. Also much darker coloration, being almost a dark gray, whereas Asian elephants are a lighter brown. Now, the males of the species are much more solitary. They get kicked out of their family groups around the age of 15 years old, which is when they reach maturity. After that, they tend to lead very solitary lives, sometimes forming loose bachelor groups, sometimes rejoining family groups for mating purposes, but for the most part, they stay by themselves. The large herds of elephants you see out on the savannah are actually all female, with the exception of some young adolescent males, and they're led by the most senior female in the group called the matriarch. And she knows all migration routes by heart, as well as where to find any food and water. And if she ever feels that she's be reaching the end of her lifetime, she'll take another female elephant under her wing and teach her everything that she knows, passing down that knowledge from generation to generation. That's why poaching for their ivory tusks is so dangerous, because the matriarch of a herd is slaughtered for her ivory tusks. That herd loses all that accumulated experience and they have to relearn everything from the beginning. Now, if you guys had to guess, how many muscles do you think an elephant has in its trunk? It's going to be about 40,000 muscles in their trunk alone. To give you a point of reference, humans have about 680 muscles in our entire body. And elephants can actually use their chunks to pick up to 750 pounds. I'm starting to see a lot of red clay here, which is a good sign if you're looking for more elephants. Also seeing some elephant tracks here and some tusk marks in the clay on the right. The reason you see those tusk marks there is because elephants will actually scrape the red clay off the walls using their tusks into piles on the ground. They will then pick up those piles of red clay and eat them. Now, it's completely safe for them to do that, however. It acts like a natural vitamin for them, helping complete their daily nutrition that they need. The rest of that nutrition comes from assorted greenery, totaling around 300 pounds of food a day. But given the fact that adult male elephants weigh around 12 to 14,000 pounds, that's not a whole lot of food when you think about it. Female elephants typically weigh about half that, around 7,000 to 8,000 pounds. Now, elephants do not have any natural predators, but they do face two very large threats from humans. Between poaching for their ivory tusks as well as severe habitat destruction from mining companies looking for coltan, they've officially been moved onto the endangered species list. Now, coltan that the mining companies are looking for is used in the production of electronic devices such as computers or cell phones, and is actually recyclable. So if you want to help protect these beautiful creatures' habitats, I would suggest recycling any old unused electronics when you're just sitting around. Don't just throw them in your local recycling bin. Take them to an electronics store where they are much more capable of handling those items. Alright, there's currently a wildebeest standing in front of the truck. So, since we yield to the animals here on the reserve, we're going to have to wait for him to move out of the way.
Where to stand still? Hams. Where to stand still? Where to stand still? This is what happens when you have an animal. At least it's not a rhino this time.
I see it. Woo! There we go. Like I definitely saw. I didn't even tell you guys. I let you guys look for it, but that's not too good.
Okay, let's look, an elephant.
An elephant.
Recycling just about anything is a great way to help with conservation efforts. Most items are recyclable, however sometimes they can't be handled by a local recycling company. Good examples are plastic bags and styrofoam, both of which are perfectly recyclable. They have to be taken back to their mate in order to be recycled properly. Luckily, most chain supermarkets have recycling areas in them, and it costs you nothing except your time to take those items up there and drop them off. So do your research in your local area, guys. See what kind of recycling options you have available to you in your local community. Now here on our left-hand side, we're going to see some greater flamingos. Greater flamingos are a very light shade of pink. They get that pink coloration from a brine chip that they use as a mineral called beta-carotene. Beta-carotene slowly seeps into their feathers, turning them pink. It takes about 2 years for that to happen, which is why some of the younger ones are very light shade of white or gray. Whenever you see large groups of flamingos like this together, they're called a flamboyance of flamingos. We're in the eastern part of the savannah now, and it's been very warm today, so a lot of the animals in this part of the reserve have been hiding up underneath the shade of the trees to try to protect their skin from the sun and cool off. So let's see what we can find out here. Now, the mud pit that's over on the left-hand side is quite popular amongst rhinos. They love to roll around in that mud. It helps keep them cool when it's warm outside. Once they're done rolling in that mud, it will be caked onto their skin. It will then dry in the sun. That dried mud acts like a natural sunblock for them, because even though the skin is almost 1.5 inches thick in some places, it is extremely sensitive. So they need just a little bit of extra help to protect their skin from the very hot African sun.
Everybody gets excited for a butterfly.
This is a body.
Very cool. Kind of hard to see, but over on our left-hand side, you're going to see some cheetahs lying around underneath the trees. Cheetahs are some of the fastest animals on the planet, reaching speeds around 50 to 60 miles per hour in short bursts. To help them achieve that great speed, they actually have non-retractable claws, allowing them to dig into the ground and help control themselves, things for like cleats that athletes would use. They also have black tear marks going down out of their eyes to help reduce the amount of glare that they experience in the very bright African sun. A cheetah is going to maintain their high speed for about 300 yards, and it costs them half a day's worth of calories just to do that. So if they don't catch whatever it is they're hunting, it is a very significant loss for them. Now here on our left-hand side are some Kopi rocks. Kopi rocks refers to this rock formation as a whole, and they are notorious for predators. It's common for us to see predators sitting up on top of these Kopi rocks, keeping a lookout over the savannah. So we'll have to keep our eyes out, see if we can spot anything up there today. Very cool, guys. If you look closely coming up here on our left-hand side, we're actually going to see a warthog wandering around. Warthogs are actually a large burrowing creature. They use their razor-sharp tusks to burrow into the ground. If they ever feel threatened, they'll actually back into those burrows and display their tusks. You ever see one doing that? You want to stay away from it. They've been known to fend off adult male lions. Now, coming up here on our right-hand side, we're going to see an ostrich, as well as some ostrich eggs, some rhinos, and some bontebok. The bontebok are once hunted nearly to extinction for their beautiful brown coats. At one time, there's only 20 of them left on the entire planet. That's less than the amount of people we have on this truck right now. Luckily, groups of farmers here in Africa took them onto their farms, started protecting them, allowed them to make a remarkable comeback. You will unfortunately only find Bontebok on reserves such as this one nowadays. They are extinct in the wild. Now the rhinos we saw there were white rhinos. White rhinos do not get their name from their coloration. It comes from a mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word "weit," meaning wide, or very wide lips they use for grazing. Similar to their black rhino cousins, they can get charging to 35 miles per hour. They are much larger. They weigh at around 5,000 pounds. They also have the same keratin horns on top of their head that they are commonly poached for. Because of that, they're also critically endangered, with only about 20,000 of them being left in the world. We're entering the Magadi Glen now, which is a small oasis. The ostriches we saw back there. Ostriches are the largest birds on the planet. They do have very large wings. They're completely flightless, however, and they walk and run everywhere. They can reach speeds around 45 miles per hour while sprinting, and when they're running that fast, they take 10 to 16 foot long strides. Now, the largest bird on the planet lays the largest eggs on the planet. Ostrich eggs weigh around 3 to 5 pounds each, and they're very dense. An adult human male can stand on top of an ostrich egg without cracking or breaking it. Now, here on our right-hand side is one of my favorite animals on the reserve, the scimitar horned oryx. It gets its name from the likeness of its horns to the Persian scimitar. And this is a very remarkable creature. Get this. It can go up to 9 months out of the year without drinking any water. To help it achieve that, it has a beautiful white coat that reflects most of the sunlight off its body, helping keep it cool. It also will not sweat until its internal body temperature reaches 114 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, it does look like we're coming back to the Warden's Post, which is where we're going to be dropping you guys off, but Hakuna Matata, everyone, means no worries. While the sun is up in Harambe, there's still just a little bit left to do. If you want a chance of more up-close and personal animal encounters, I would suggest taking a short walk through the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. There you have a chance of seeing animals such as gorillas, meerkats, or even an underwater viewing area for hippos. Now, I would encourage you all to learn as much as you can about conservation, because without it, many of the animals that we saw today could go extinct. It's estimated that without continued conservation efforts, the elephants will go extinct within 20 years. As we all know, extinction is forever. Like I said before, a great way to help is by recycling. So do your research in your local area, guys. See what kind of recycling options you have available to you in your local community. But if you want to help directly, you can do so by donating to the Disney Conservation Fund, which you can donate any amount that you'd like to, and the company will match every donation dollar for dollar. And that goes to different conservation funds all around the world to help protect the beautiful creatures we saw today, as well as many other creatures we did not get to see. You can learn more about that conservation fund at any merchandise location.
Unfortunately, we're not doing any rides here today because the lines are really, really long, but it's really pretty here. And then they have a Navi band here. We're just taking trips on the walk here.
Be used for joyous celebrations. These drums not share stories. Stay connected with
Aloha cousins. We hope you enjoyed our day at Animal Kingdom. What do they need to do, guys?
Like, subscribe,
Share with friends, and click the bell. Big thumbs up, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.
bye.